Hi, this is James from JTP Machinery, and we're going to have a look at the new Kioti HX1301, 130 horse. Now, I'm not a professional at doing videos, but let's have a look at this. For starters, it's actually called a HX1301. Now, the first thing I want to do is have a look at the engine. So, what do we got here? A little button, that's easy. Bonnet lifts up nice and easily. Good access. Donaldson air filter, pretty standard sort of stuff for tractors these days. Oh, look at that. Radiator's easy to get to. Screens, cleanable screens. Looks like the air conditioner. Twist that. Oh yeah, look at that. Easy access to the cores, cooling cores, which is important at the moment with the dry weather. Doing this left-handed, by the way. Okay, that looks good. It's Coyote's new common rail engine. They do 130 and 140 horsepower. Pretty standard looking engine. Filters, belts, fan, everything's pretty easy to get to. Dipstick's easy to find. Oil filler's easy. That's all good. Okay, put the bonnet down. So, what I noticed is they're using a European style front axle. So they've gone from the drop-down swivel hubs to a uni joint. And the first thing you notice is grease nipples. So they actually have grease nipples for the bearings. There's a grease nipple in there for the uni joint. Looks like a good solid front axle. Grease points on the diff swivel point because you know, all tractors they tend to wear there because of the stress of loaders, and you know that's always moving, rocking. So having grease nipples there is a great idea. Grease nipples on your upper and lower kingpin bearings, great idea. If you look at the rims, good wheel equipment on it too. They're using something similar to what the European tractors use. It's like a radial, and nice big wheel nuts, spaced out nicely, final drive reduction. And looking at the thickness of the rims, nice and thick. You know, center rim's quite bulky. There's a lot of retaining bolts around. It looks like a good solid setup, on par with any of the better, you know, good quality tractors on the market. I've seen some pretty hideous stuff over the years in terms of front axle strength, but this certainly one-ups all those as being a very nice setup. Standard front guards, pivoting guards, which is something you've often got to pay for on other models, other brands. Battery's easy to get to. Just these little locks. Pull the battery cover out. Look at that. It's nice and simple. Battery isolator. Great idea if you're storing the tractor. Rear rims, the same thing. They're adjustable too, so you could flip the centers around and widen the rear wheels out. Nice big heavy duty wheel equipment, which is a great idea. 3-point linkage. We've got some nice big hydraulic external lift rams. Lift capacity is pretty impressive on these. Dipstick for the transmission. Look at that. No mucking around, easy to check. Easy to fill, obviously. I would be filling it from there as well, so you don't have to chase around trying to find a fill point. Plenty of remotes. So what do we got there? 4 sets, which is pretty much all you need for most situations. We've got a High flow hydraulic tank return, so that allow you to plug in, say for example, post drivers and some balers and stuff. We've got a load sense here as well, so you can ramp the pump up, and that's a direct line from the pump, so power beyond. So we've got a really good 3-point linkage setup and hydraulic remote setup, so the hydraulics are quite powerful on this machine. We've also got external linkage lift and a external PDO activation. One of the things I notice on a lot of tractors, other brands now, is they're cheaping out on things like rear windscreen wipers. Well, Kioti haven't cheaped out on that, so they've got a proper windscreen wiper on the rear with water squirter and all the important stuff. Quick hitch on the linkage too, I forgot to mention, which is good. Nice big arms. So the other thing I noticed while we're walking around is no AdBlue. Isn't that great? No sensors to bugger up. No buying specially priced watered down urea at an exorbitant price. So yeah, I mean, that's great. We don't need that. Don't want it. Little toolbox, quite cute. The other thing too, I noticed it doesn't have a particular trap or anything fancy there, which is good. It means we don't have to worry about expensive services and the cost of replacement of some of those items is astronomical on some of the brands. So that's a definite plus for a simple, reliable tractor. Now we're inside the tractor. Let's have a look around. So we've got, our normal air conditioning. We've got a high vis little sunroof in it, so you can actually see the loader when you're loading hay on a truck or in a shed. Great idea. We've got a sunscreen on there to block out some of the sunlight. Bluetooth stereo, rear vision mirror inside, which is handy. Good mirrors on the outside. Plenty of cooling vents around the cab. Bonus fridge. So, like Kioti have always done in their bigger tractors, you get a pie warmer or cooler as part of the deal, which is pretty handy. Plenty of storage space. Cigarette lighter. While we're looking at cigarette lighters, on this side we have the Bosch 3-pin style plug. We have another couple of little screw-on power outlets, so you could put little round crimp-on terminals on something and screw it on without having to mess around. Oh, look at that. Fuse box is super easy to get to. Another storage compartment down there, that's good. More storage compartments on this side. Oh, a little USB output, so good for charging the phone. Could drop your phone in any of these holders. Okay, so let's look at the really important stuff. I'm gonna start this tractor. So clutch in, make sure it's in neutral, shuttle lever's in neutral. There we go. I might just turn the fan down a little bit. That's quite intuitive. Push button to turn the AC on and off. Fan control, very easy. Yep. Demister position, as well as normal vents, and then just the front windscreen demister. Temperature control, very nice. Okay, steering wheel. So this whole dash, you push a little pedal down the bottom here and you can move the steering wheel backwards and forwards to get it in the right position, which is almost a must on tractors these days, I think. So our loader control, pretty simple. I did notice on this tractor too that because of the generous hydraulic system, if I give it a little bit of revs and pull that loader control, that loader goes up quite quickly. So, you know, it's actually very quick in the hydraulics, and the rams are quite large too, so the lift capacity will be good. The third service is on the front of the little joystick, and it's incorporated into the tractor, so you've got your third service pipes at the front, but the tractor actually has the valving built into it. So that's something different, which I think is a good idea. You haven't got diverter valves on the front of the loader to get smashed off or wires ripped off. Keeps the front of the loader a little more less cluttered, with less possibility of breaking things. Quite a nice looking loader, Korean made loader, quite heavy, Euro hitch, as I said, third service, quick detach, got all your colour coded remotes to unplug it. Now that we've got it started and I've adjusted the steering wheel, let's have a look at the gears. So down here we have high, neutral and creep. So I'm going to push it into creep. So that's, you know, that's one range, high and creep, which is your first step. Then I notice here we have low, neutral, high. So let's go for the low. It's in low. On the side of this we've got a power shift button, and we'll get to that. We also have a power shift button on the armrest, and we have a power shift button on the loader control, and a horn, which is quite cute. So you know, you got a couple of, but you know, it's easy to do if you're doing loader work and someone doesn't see you coming. You can always let them know. It's nice and easy to find. You're not searching around for the horn button. While we're over this side, we've got our remote levers. This one's got a float, D10 float position, and obviously you can lock it out. There's our PDO activation button, nice and simple, push down, turn, push it to turn it off, same as a lot of tractors have these days, which is keeps it simple. No trying to figure out how it works. And while we're on the PDO, we've got 1000, 750 and 540, so we've got all the necessary speeds in the PDO, which is great. I'm sitting on this lovely air suspension seat. Jumping back to our gear stick again with the power shifts. We also have automatic mode, which will change through the gears automatically at a set speed. And you've got a button here to activate it and a button here to activate it. Linkage quick controls, another linkage control, position control here, which is good. Hand throttle, obviously your standard foot throttle. So let's let the park brake off, which is a nice, simple, conventional park brake. Let it down, and we'll select a speed. So let's lift the shuttle lever, pop her in forward, and might actually have to put it in gear. Bring that. There we go. Now we're in gear. Okay. So as you can see, in creep, we are first gear, low range, creep. We're barely moving, which is great for certain jobs that require a really slow ground speed. There's plenty of times customers ask for that, but it also means that it gives you a whole lot of speeds to choose from through the range. Having essentially 1, 2, 3, 4 ranges mixed with your power shift speed. So let's go through the power shift. If you look here, you can see it says we're going forward, we're doing 0.1 kilometre an hour, and that's our power shift gear or speed there. So let's power shift it. I'll just jump through the range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's it. So we have 8 power shift speeds, which is pretty impressive for a tractor in the range, in the part of the market that this tractor's in. It's actually a good selection of power shift speeds, and what I like too, let's shuttle it backwards. Got a reversing beeper. I don't know if that's good or bad. Could be slightly annoying, but it certainly meet the requirements of a safe workplace. So if we look at this power shift, we can power shift it from the loader control, so we can be lifting the loader control and power shifting at the same time, which is brilliant. We can also power shift it from the gear stick, which is also excellent, and we can power shift it from the armrest. So really, that's a no-brainer. You can change gears from wherever you're working. So if you're working with a linkage, you can power shift. If you've just changed range here, you can power shift. If you're using a loader, you can power shift and shuttle forward. Now, I always tell people to have the loader down when you're driving around, so I should live up to my word. It's always best to have the loader as low as possible, but obviously not low enough to hit anything. So normally a couple of feet off the ground, or half a metre or a metre off the ground is good. Keep your centre of gravity down. You never know what's going to happen. You could find yourself popping down a wombat hole and lifting one side up. So having a loader down just gives you that extra low centre of gravity and safety of being able to drop the loader down in an emergency. Okay, so another thing I noticed, I'm just going to power shift right back down. Okay, let's go for 5. We're only in creep, so I'm going to set the hand throttle. There we go. So what I want to do, there's a button up here and it says work and drive. So what I noticed was when it's in drive, it shuttles and shifts a little smoother. There's more modulation, which means it's a bit softer on the changes. So if you're just driving around, that's where you'd have it. I haven't read the manual properly yet, naughty me. But just looking at this, we go back to work, and what it does is it just tightens up the changes a little bit harsher. So when you've got a lot of weight on it, or a plough in the ground behind it or something, that extra, that increase in your shuttle speed is important to be able to compensate for the extra load on the transmission. So you're not waiting half an hour for it to change direction. I'm exaggerating, obviously. While I think of it, we also have a little training seat or dicky seat with a seat belt. Most of the time that's an added extra on most tractors, so Coyote are doing that standard. Let's bump that throttle back down. So that's a little bonus. Your fridge, your third service, wipers all around. Good lighting options on it too. Speaking of lighting, if you look over here, we've got our beacon which comes with it. This is a nice little console here. No weird, hard to work out stuff. It says what it is. So look here, you got your work lamps. It shows you which ones they are. You can turn them on and off. Your wipers, your wiper washer, front, wiper rear. How easy is that? Washer front, washer rear. I think it's great, simple. And work and drive, I think that's something that you would probably end up being quite happy to have. you know, when you're just cruising around the farm, getting from one place to another, drive softens it up, makes it nice to use, and when you put it into work again, it tightens things up. And you can adjust that too. I haven't actually read up on that bit yet, but there's probably a sequence there. I'll work on that later. One spare button. Yeah. Looking down here, we have auto and manual for your back to your PDO. So when you lift the linkage up in auto, it'll turn the PDO off automatically. That's cool. Your four-wheel drive buttons here, and auto two-wheel drive. So again, that would when you select that, it would actually turn four-wheel drive off when it thinks it's necessary not to have it on. But if you don't have that turned on, you're in four-wheel drive all the time. So I guess it probably turns it off over a certain speed, or you know, when you're turning corners. So most of the time on the farm, I would just leave that in, leave it in manual mode, so it's not turning on and off. I'll give that a test out later on the road. Okay, I think we've just about covered everything. I noticed there's an eco and power mode, eco and power there, so that would relate to the engine, how quickly it accelerates. So if you're trying to save fuel, you put in eco and it's going to be a bit doughier, but it would actually use less fuel, which is really important these days now that diesel's broken well over the double what it was 20 years ago. In this area, it's in the high $2, well over $2 a litre. So I mean, economy is really important. Speaking of economy, it's again, I mentioned in the beginning, a Kioti Datong, their first real serious effort into the larger common rail engines, and I think they've done a really good job. And I've been to the plant, and they're extremely advanced manufacturing, and they manufacture from the ground up. So they actually have the foundry, they cast all the components, and they build their own engines from the ground up, which is pretty rare these days when we look at the badge engineering that we call it in the trade, where a lot of companies just farm out their manufacture to whoever can give them the best price for the features they want, and they paint it the color that they want and put the right badges on it. Kioti don't do that. I think that's brilliant. They build everything, obviously other than batteries and switches and things, but they build the transmissions and the engines and everything in-house, which is brilliant because it gives them control over the whole process, which is why I think Kioti's quality is extremely high. We rarely ever have any issues, and if we do, in the past there's been some things that possible design flaws. Well, they go to great lengths to rectify any of those things, and I think they've evolved to a point now where their manufacturing is second to none. And I can say that from experience, being in this trade my whole working career. It's not just a throwaway comment. I've seen the plant, I've been there, I've sold the machines, I use the machines. So I can be pretty confident to back that. One of the reasons why we like selling them. So I think we pretty well covered everything. I'm sure I've forgotten something. I will mention that Kioti have one of the best factory-backed warranties, no gimmicks, in terms of you're not paying some third-party company like an insurance company to cover warranty and fight with them over stuff. Kioti actually back the warranty from Kioti themselves, from the factory, and they give you 2 years on everything on the tractor and a total of 4 years for your engine and driveline. So you got that additional 2 years for your engine and driveline, just because they're obviously confident that nothing will fail. And your loader, all loaders on all tractors are 12 months. So I mean, loaders are add-on all agricultural tractors. I don't believe there's any company that makes tractors and loaders, not that I'm aware of. Kioti, in that regard, have a company that they work very closely with, and the loaders are factory fitted and tested, and you know they do all kinds of nice stuff like recesses for access to oil filters and stuff like that. They don't put support bars or brackets in stupid places where you can't reach things, or obstruct you from doing service, which has always been a problem for us tractor mechanics over the years. So you're very nicely set out and well thought out in every way, I think. Okay, I'm going to finish up on that. If you want to come and test drive a HX, we have one in stock ready to go. Come and check it out. Thanks for watching, and visit our website at www.jtpmachinery.com.au. JTP Machinery. James Peel, and thanks for listening and watching.